What kind of a world do we live in where we even have to have a press conference like this? Human trafficking is a scourge. There aren't words to describe how sickening it is that so many women, children, and men are literally enslaved by criminals who use one person's lives for their own pleasure or profit. The package of bills we will introduce today are a direct product of a call issued by our Attorney General earlier this year when she expressed doubt as to whether we would ever pass meaningful legislation related to human trafficking. I am glad the Attorney General shared those concerns. I took them as a challenge. And today's legislation is a step in the right direction to make Michigan the last place on earth anyone would want to be involved in either sex trafficking or labor trafficking. Upon hearing the challenge to toughen our laws, my heart was there, but to be honest, I wasn't sure I really even understood what was happening every day in our culture. I pictured the proverbial white van pulling up and kidnapping someone and forcing them into slavery, which does happen, albeit rarely. The reality of human trafficking is far more insidious. It took several hours of sitting with people from the Attorney General's office, especially Ashley Steffen and Melissa Palapu and Aaron Van Langenfeld, who were so patient with me as they talked about what's really happening here in Michigan and around the country. They spoke of young girls who were coerced online with threats, who wound up being sold for sex to grown men who thought nothing of what they were doing. They spoke of parents brokering their own children for terrible purposes. They gave examples of people literally being used as labor slaves until they paid off a debt that they frankly could never repay because the goalposts kept moving. They talked about illicit massage parlors that are shut down one day only to reopen the next under new ownership, and the women working in them who have literally resigned themselves to their fate in life, losing hope as they are victimized over and over and over again every single day. I hope that the teaching that was provided to me can be shared with everyone in the state, and that's something we should work on. It's shocking to think that this is happening right under our noses. Our bills won't end human trafficking overnight. No piece of legislation is ever that effective. But the challenge I issued in response to the data presented to me was that I wanted to see a package of bills that, if passed, 2 years from now, there will be a significant number of women who will wake up and not be trafficked that day who otherwise would have been trafficked that day. And I think that's what we have in this legislation. I want to highlight one aspect of this package that I'm particularly proud of. We aren't just going after the supply side of the problem, the criminals trafficking women, children, and men. We're going after the demand side too. If you're a person, most often a man, thinking you're just paying someone to have a good time, think again. With these bills, you're facing dramatically increased penalties. Depending on the specific crime, you may be going to prison for the rest of your life if you choose to abuse a minor. That's it. That's what we're doing. That's important because we've often demonized the person being trafficked against their will and given virtually a free pass to those who are just out there to gratify themselves, blissfully unaware that their actions are building an entire illicit economy that enslaves another human being. So thank you to the Attorney General and to your entire team for guiding us towards this legislation that could help end this atrocity here in Michigan. And thank you to my colleagues, especially those in the Senate, Senator Weber, Senator Chang, and Senator Baer, and my counterparts in the House who are taking this very seriously and who represent a broad section of ideas and locations throughout the entire state and thereby make this about as bipartisan an effort as we can get. I pray that the legislature takes up these bills immediately and that it helps make Michigan off limits for anyone and everyone engaged in human trafficking.